Good morning, my fellow readers. It is Jessica from I Read to Relax on Bookstagram, and I'm here with another video for you of recommendations of some books that I've loved. And I decided to do a theme today, an academy setting or school setting theme, because I started grad school again yesterday. So I am actually going to be getting a second master's degree, this time in accounting of all things. And it got me in that back to school sort of mood. And I thought I would come up with a list of books that I've really loved that have been set either almost fully in a school, or the school is very important to the story in some way. So let's get started. All right. One of my favorites is actually a book that I can't locate at the moment. I'm reorganizing my bookshelves and I have thrown this book apparently into the void. So I'm gonna put the cover here. It is Letters to the Lost by Brigid Kemmerer. And I don't pick up contemporary fiction as much, but this one was recommended to me, and oh boy, do I recommend it now to others. It is the story of basically secret pen pals. So a boy and a girl who end up writing letters to each other, and they're both going through some emotional trauma in their lives. And it is just a heartbreakingly beautiful story. So I absolutely hands down recommend this, and when I can find this book in my library, I will be making sure it's got its own special space on my shelves again. But as I said, at the moment, all you get is the cover here. So yes. I'm gonna bounce around from genre to genre because I, as I've mentioned before, read a lot of fantasy. But I also wanted to try and get some, non-fantasy recs in there, and Letters to the Lost was one. The next set that I really like is the Monsters of Verity duology by V.E. Schwab, or Victoria Schwab here. And the first book is This Savage Song. And this is a super cool duology where conceptually the worst things that people do come to life as actual monsters. So there are two main characters in this story. They live on different sides of this city that is plagued by literal monsters. And just the concept is amazing. The girl, Kate, who's the main character, is essentially the daughter of a mob boss, and she's trying to prove to her dad how badass she can be. And then the boy, August, is a sweet cinnamon roll of a character with a super secret backstory. So I love this duology so much. And if you like, monsters in your stories, I recommend that one. Next is another one that I don't have the physical book to show, so it's here. It is Etiquette and Espionage by Gail, Carriger, and this is the first book in a 4-book series that is part historical fiction, part paranormal. It's a mashup of different genres, and all of her books are amazing, but I love this series. It is about a girl who goes to a school to basically learn to be a spy / assassin. So, like I said, there's a historical setting. It's got steampunky kind of vibes. There are werewolves, there are vampires, and there's poison and weapons, and it's just a very fun series to read. So I highly recommend those as well, and she writes all different types of series, so check out Gail Carriger if you've never read her books before. Back to the contemporary realm. This is one of my all-time favorite romance books. It is Love Story by Jennifer Echols, and this is set in college. So at the time that I read it, it was labeled as young adult, but now I believe it would be labeled as new adult. And it is about a girl who is in a creative writing program in New York City in college, and as she shares her work in class, she and the boy that she ends up crushing on end up writing about each other, and it's just, again, it's beautiful. I love this book. It's one that I will never get rid of. I don't keep a lot of contemporary romances because I just sort of read them and then move on, but this one I've come back to more than once and I truly love it, and it's not that big, so this is a nice quick read. Oh god, do I love that book. Okay, so I have two more. I'm trying to make this a semi-quick video, but I just had to mention this one is a little bit odd. It's not quite a school story, but this series is just amazing. So this is the first book in the Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire, Every Heart a Doorway. And this is a series of novellas, so they're all short, and I believe there's 6 of them so far. And it is a story about what happens to the children who come back from portal worlds. So Alice in Wonderland, when she comes back here. Wendy and her brothers, when they come back from seeing Peter Pan. How do those kids who have been to other worlds come back and function in our society? And the answer is that they don't. And so in this world, it's imagined that one of these people had such a hard time functioning herself that she ends up creating this school for what she calls orphans, the wayward children, kids who are obviously having emotional trouble fitting in with society, but she knows that they've actually been someplace that made their heart sing, and now they just can't be here without problems. So each book explores sort of a different story to do with these kids, either trying to function here in the house, or you get the story of some of their adventures in the other worlds. But it's just so good, and even though it's not really set as a school, the location, the home for wayward children is so important to the setting that I considered it close enough. So I just had to throw that one in there because I love that series. And then my last one for today is one that's controversial. Some people hate it. I absolutely love it. This is the Crave series by Tracy Wolff, and it is set at a school in Alaska. And it is the story of a girl who goes to this school to live with her uncle and her cousin who run the school, and finds out that humans are not the only things that exist. I can't give away too much more than that because it will ruin it for you, but let's just say most characters are not human. And it's got campy Twilight vibes. It's got that tongue-in-cheek, it knows it has campy Twilight vibes feel. Like there are moments where they're reading Twilight, she's making fun of things. Like it's not an epic piece of literature by any means, but if you just want a book where you're gonna buckle in and go for a fun ride, the Crave series is addicting, it's fun, and I love them with all of my heart. So I'm super excited for the next book, which got pushed back a little bit, but it comes out, I think, now in February. I need to check on that again. But yeah. So those are books that I've loved that take place either in a school or an academy. I'll put a couple other of my sort of runner-up choices here. So like the Fallen Academy series, Ace of Spades. So good, so good. I hope that if you're going back to school, you get some pleasure reading in. I hope if your kids are going back to school, again, you can sneak some pleasure reading in. And if you're not going back to school, maybe you just want to read about school. Anyway, whatever the case may be, I wish you happy reading and have a great September.